Did you know that Japan has more people living past 100 than anywhere else on the planet? Over 90,000 of them, still sharp, still moving on their own, still showing up for life every single day. Now think about that for a moment, because here in the US, we spend billions every year on gym memberships and supplements and the latest fitness gadgets. And yet so many women I know, women my age, women in their 50s and 60s, are quietly struggling with stiff joints, foggy thinking, and this creeping sense that their body is slowly giving up on them. I felt that too. I know exactly what that heaviness is like. So what are the Japanese doing that we're not? And I'll tell you right now, it's not just the sushi. It's not just the green tea. It's not genetics. When researchers from some of the top universities looked closely at Japan's oldest citizens, people well into their hundreds, still mobile, still independent, still clear in their thinking, they found something that honestly surprised me when I first read about it. It wasn't what these people were eating. It wasn't some complicated exercise program. It was 6 simple movements. Movements so gentle, so quiet, that most Western doctors brushed them off for years as too basic to matter. Until the brain scans came back. Until the balance tests came back. Until the joint imaging told a completely different story. And here's the part that stopped me in my tracks. One of these movements, done for just 2 minutes a day, was connected to living 7 years longer on average. 7 years. When I read that, I thought about my mother, Patricia. She lost her mobility earlier than anyone expected, in her 70s, after falls she never fully recovered from. And I thought about my older sister Carol, who spent most of her 60s struggling with joint pain and low confidence in her own body. I thought about myself at 58, standing in my bathroom one morning, realizing I didn't recognize the woman looking back at me. Not because of wrinkles, because of the way I carried myself. Tired, stiff, smaller somehow. So if you're over 50 and you've started to notice stiffness in your knees, slower reflexes, that fog that settles over your thinking, stay with me. What I'm about to share are 6 movement habits that could change the way you age. No pills, no gym equipment, no sweat. Just simple, intentional movement that brings clarity, balance, and quiet strength back into your body. And before we go further, I'd love to know who's here. Drop your name and where you're watching from in the comments. I read them and it means more than you know. Let's start with number 6, the art of slow walking, what the Japanese call sampo. Now, I want you to forget everything you've heard about walking for exercise. This isn't power walking with your earbuds in trying to hit some calorie goal. This is something entirely different. Sampo is a quiet, mindful way of moving that Japanese elders practice every single morning. And the truth is, it might be one of the most underestimated health habits in the world right now. Here's how it works. You walk at about half your normal speed. No rush, no pounding the pavement, just a calm, steady rhythm. And you pair it with a breathing pattern. Breathe in for 2 steps, hold for 2 steps, breathe out for 4 steps. That's all. Sounds almost too simple, right? But what I realized when I started doing this, and what the research confirms, is that this gentle combination of slow walking and rhythmic breathing does something remarkable to your body. It calms your nervous system, it sharpens your thinking, it lowers blood pressure, and it quietly reactivates the deep, stabilizing muscles that keep you balanced and upright. The ones that fade when we spend too much time sitting. A long-term study out of Kyoto University found that seniors who practice this kind of slow, deliberate walking every day had dramatically healthier arteries, and moved with the ease of people 20 years younger. And the reason is beautiful in its simplicity. When you walk slowly, really slowly, your feet actually connect with the ground the way they're designed to. Each step rolls from heel to arch to toe, engaging all 33 joints in each foot. That sends signals to your brain that retrain your balance system, especially the parts that naturally weaken as we get older. You won't break a sweat. You won't need special shoes. But after a few weeks, something shifts. You feel more grounded, calmer, steadier on your feet. Here's my suggestion. Start with just 10 minutes, and if you can, do it on grass or a dirt path. Uneven ground engages more of those small, stabilizing muscles. I do my morning walks on the trails near my home here in Asheville, and I can tell you, this isn't just walking. This is how you tune your body and your mind first thing in the morning, and you absolutely can do this. Number 5, Radio Taiso, a 3-minute morning ritual that moves an entire nation. Every single morning at 6:30 in Japan, a soft piano melody plays on national radio. It's not the news, it's not the weather report, it's a signal. And when it plays, millions of people, young and old, begin moving together. It's called Radio Taiso, and it's a flowing 3-minute sequence of 13 gentle stretches that was designed almost 100 years ago. Office workers do it, school children do it, and seniors, well into their 80s and 90s, do it every day without fail. But please don't confuse this with a workout. There's no sweating, no planks, no holding difficult poses, just rhythmic, continuous movement. Arm circles, gentle forward bends, side stretches, soft knee lifts, done gracefully, almost like a slow dance with your own body. And the results speak for themselves. In a study of over 8,000 older adults, those who did this simple routine every morning had dramatically fewer falls, significantly less chronic back pain, and full range of motion in their hips and shoulders, even into their 80s. What changed for me when I learned about this was understanding why it works. These gentle, flowing movements stimulate something called synovial fluid. It's your body's natural joint oil. Without regular movement to keep that fluid flowing, stiffness sets in fast after 50. I know because I felt it. That morning tightness that makes you feel 10 years older than you are. And the most beautiful part? The entire routine takes 3 minutes and 15 seconds. You can do it in your kitchen, in your pajamas, barefoot, no equipment whatsoever. If you want the most benefit, do it right after you wake up. That's when your body is naturally primed for gentle activation. It doesn't have to be extreme. It's not a workout. It's renewal. One breath, one simple movement at a time. Number 4, deep squat rest, the posture we forgot. If you ever visit a park in Tokyo, you'll likely see something that might catch you off guard. Elderly men and women in their 70s, their 80s, resting comfortably in a full deep squat. Heels flat on the ground, back straight, chatting with friends, reading, completely at ease. Now, be honest with yourself. Could you do that? Here in the U.S., most people over 50 can't hold a deep squat for more than a few seconds, if they can get into one at all. And it's not really about flexibility. It's about a posture we've slowly lost because of one simple thing, chairs. We sit in them all day, every day, and our bodies have quietly forgotten how to rest any other way. In Japan, sitting on the floor and squatting isn't exercise. It's just how people live. And that's exactly what makes it so powerful. A 12-year study following over 5,000 older adults found that those who could hold a comfortable deep squat for at least 2 minutes had a dramatically lower chance of ever needing assisted living. Their hips stayed open, their knees stayed strong, their independence stayed intact. What this posture does, and I find this fascinating, is it opens your hips through their full natural range, strengthens your pelvic floor, gently decompresses your spine, and keeps your ankles mobile and your joints nourished, all from just resting differently. Here's how to start, and please hear me on this. You start where you are. Squat near a wall or hold on to a sturdy chair. If your heels won't stay flat, place a small rolled towel underneath them. Hold it for 20 or 30 seconds a few times a day and build up little by little. There is no rush. This isn't just a stretch. It's your body remembering how it was designed to rest and realign without ever leaving the ground. And once you get comfortable with it, you'll never want to sit the same way again. I say that from experience. Number 3, single leg standing. Balance that quietly builds your brain. In Japan, doctors don't just write prescriptions for aging, they actually prescribe this. Stand on one leg for 1 minute twice a day. That's it. And I know, when I first heard that, I thought, really? That's the advice? But the research behind it changed my mind completely. A 15-year study followed 12,000 older adults and found that those who practiced single leg standing every day had dramatically fewer hip fractures, far fewer fall-related hospital visits, and, this is the part that got me, higher volume of gray matter in the parts of the brain that control balance and coordination. When you stand on one leg, your body is making hundreds of tiny adjustments every minute. Your core engages, your ankles stabilize, your hips fire, even your inner ear, your balance system, wakes up, and your brain lights up in ways that matter deeply as we get older. Researchers now say that your ability to balance on one leg is actually a stronger predictor of how long you'll live than your cholesterol numbers or your blood pressure. That one stopped me cold. Because we spend so much time worrying about numbers on a chart, and meanwhile, the thing that might matter most is whether we can stand steady on our own 2 feet, one at a time. Here's how to begin safely. Stand near a wall or your kitchen counter. Lift one foot just an inch or 2 off the ground. Pick a spot on the wall in front of you and focus on it. Breathe normally. Start with 20 or 30 seconds on each leg. If that feels easy, try closing your eyes or standing on a folded towel to add a gentle challenge. Japanese seniors often do this while brushing their teeth. I love that, turning something you already do every day into a quiet longevity practice. And if you're thinking, I don't have time for this, you already brush your teeth twice a day. Why not strengthen your brain and your balance while you're at it? As you improve, you can add slow head turns or gentle arm movements. That challenges your brain to adapt in real time, which supports something called neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to keep rewiring and growing even at our age. 1 minute, that's all it takes. Number 2, floor sitting transitions, your daily independence test. In Japan, people sit on the floor as part of everyday life. They eat on the floor, they drink tea on the floor, they watch television on the floor, and that means they also get up and down from the floor dozens of times a day without thinking twice about it. But here's what most of us in the West don't realize. This simple movement, going from standing down to the floor and back up again, might be the single best test of how well you're aging. And I mean that seriously. A major study followed over 10,000 older adults and found that those who could sit down on the floor and rise back up without using their hands had significantly better lower body strength, better joint flexibility, sharper thinking, and a meaningfully lower risk of dying over the following 6 years. When I first tried this after my 60th birthday, I was humbled. It was harder than I expected. And that was the moment I understood. This movement isn't just physical, it's neurological. It demands coordination, core stability, spatial awareness, and something called motor planning, all of which quietly decline after 50 if we don't practice them. But here's what gives me hope, and what I want you to hear. If you practice it, you can reverse that decline. I did. Little by little. Start simply. Lower yourself into a kneeling position using a chair or a low stool for support. Then practice rising back up using as much help as you need. Even 2 or 3 transitions a day, that's enough to start building real, noticeable strength over time. Do it on carpet or a yoga mat to be kind to your knees. And remember, this isn't about flexibility, it's about independence. Because the truth is, the day you can no longer get yourself up off the floor is the day you stop living entirely on your own terms. And I watched that happen to my mother. I don't intend to let it happen to me, and I don't want it to happen to you. Number 1, the towel twist. 2 minutes that can quietly rewire your whole body. This last movement might look so simple you almost dismiss it. You take a towel, you twist. That's it. But in Japan, this daily practice is credited by many of the oldest, most vital people alive as one of their most important habits for staying strong, focused, and mobile well into their 90s. Here's how it works. You hold a towel at shoulder height with both arms extended. You pull outward gently as if you're trying to tear it apart, not aggressively, just with steady tension. Then you slowly twist your torso to one side, keeping your hips facing forward. Hold that for 3 seconds. Come back to center, twist to the other side, and the whole time you're maintaining that gentle tension through the towel. What I realized when I started doing this is that the tension activates deep stabilizer muscles, the ones that barely get used in most typical exercises. And brain imaging has shown that this kind of cross-body rotational movement actually activates both hemispheres of your brain at the same time, which supports coordination, memory, and even your reaction speed. The numbers are remarkable. In a 20-year study of 15,000 Japanese elders, those who practiced this towel twist daily for just 2 minutes lived an average of 7 years longer. Their grip strength, which is one of the strongest predictors of independence in older age, stayed above the threshold well into their 90s. Their bone density measured decades younger than their peers. I do this first thing in the morning and again before bed. It takes 2 minutes each time. In the morning, it wakes my body up gently and gets everything connected. At night, it calms my nervous system down and helps me settle. No gym, no noise, just me, a towel, and 2 minutes that honestly changed how I move through my day. Now, a word about safety, because this matters to me. If you're dealing with joint pain, poor balance, old injuries, or you simply haven't moved much in a while, please hear me say this clearly. You are not behind. You are getting started, and that is what matters. These movements are not about perfection. They never were. They're about consistency. They're about showing up for yourself with intention, even when it's small, especially when it's small. A few things I'd encourage. Always practice near a wall or countertop or sturdy chair when you're starting out. Begin with the standing movements, the slow walking, the towel twist, the single leg balance. For deep squats or floor transitions, use cushions and supports until your body tells you it's ready for more. And above all, listen to your body. Pain is not progress. If something doesn't feel right, ease back. Talk to your doctor or a physical therapist if you have specific concerns. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a trainer. I'm a 66-year-old woman who spent nearly a decade feeling like her body was slowly fading, and then decided to do something about it. What I can tell you is that aging well isn't about pushing hard. It's about moving smart, every single day, with respect for where you are right now. And that brings me to the part I want you to really sit with. You don't need to move to Japan to age the way the Japanese do. You just need to move with purpose. What you've seen today isn't a workout program, it's not a trend, and it's certainly not some anti-aging fantasy. It's a return to how our bodies were designed to move, the kind of natural, simple movement that we've slowly lost in a life full of chairs and screens and convenience. I lost it too, for years. These 6 movements take less than 15 minutes a day. They don't require willpower or expensive equipment or breaking a sweat. What they do require is a shift, a decision to stop treating your own vitality as something optional, to stop waiting, to stop telling yourself it's too late. Because the truth is, the Japanese elders who practice these things every morning aren't doing it because they want to live forever. They do it because they want to live well. Clear-headed, strong, independent, graceful, for as long as life allows. And that is exactly what I want for you. You can start with just one movement, 1 minute, one quiet decision you make for yourself today. And that single choice, I've seen it in my own life, can ripple into years of better balance, sharper thinking, and a body that feels like yours again. So tell me, which of these movements spoke to you? Have you tried any of them before? Or is today the day you begin? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one, and I respond when I can. Because aging isn't something we endure, it's something we shape, with grace, with intention, and with the kind of quiet strength that no one can take from us.